go to chapter 12 of the Bhagavad Gita, we learn a bit more about bhakti, about devotion, and a bit more about God. So let me read a few verses to you. Let me see what we have here. So in the Gita, and I'm sure many of you will know about the Bhagavad Gita, but for those of you who don't, very briefly, it's a conversation between two people, Arjuna and Krishna. Krishna is God, and Arjuna is a person. A very highly skilled, sophisticated and intelligent person. A prince. And a worldly success in many ways. And he has found himself distraught and confused and anxious, and he has a panic attack right in the middle of a battlefield. And he is meant to be a seasoned warrior. I think he's meant to be the best warrior on the planet. And he's having a panic attack in the battlefield, in his arena. And he turns to his friend, his charioteer, who happens to be Krishna, and asks for help. And there's a conversation that occurs between them. And that conversation was narrated down. And it's the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad means God, or it means beloved. And Gita means song. So it's the song of God, the Lord's song, the song of the beloved. And it's one of the most important texts, if not the most important texts, of Indian spirituality or of Vedic spirituality, the Vedic religion, the Vedic tradition. And we'll go to chapter 12 and have a look and see what it says. Arjuna said, and he's speaking to Krishna, "Some always serve you in devotion, and others contemplate the imperishable and imperceptible. Which are the most perfect in yoga?" So Arjuna's asking, some are devoted to you, Krishna. Some are devoted to the personal God. And some worship the impersonal. Who are the best? Which is the best? Krishna, the blessed Lord Bhagavan, said, those whose minds are focused on me, absorbed in my constant service with great faith, I consider the most perfect yogis. Those who contemplate the imperceptible, the invisible, all-pervading, inconceivable, unchanging, fixed, and immovable, who control the senses and are even-minded and live for the welfare of all, also attain me. So Krishna's answer to Arjuna, Krishna's answer is the people who are devoted to me are the best. But the others who are devoted to the impersonal, the unchanging, also attain me. They're fine too. So it's all good. My experience is that the best way is the way that works for you. And it might change, and often it does. It will shift between jnana, the more impersonal aspects of the divine, and bhakti, which is the personal, worshipping the personal and giving yourself in faith to the personal aspects of the divine. So it's good to know both parts. I'd say it's almost essential. And the two parts are the same, really. And I think it's really bhakti, the devotional love aspect, that really allows two paths to merge. When people are caught in the intellect, in the head, in their mind, they don't really see the paths being the same. They see all these different paths. But when the devotional aspect comes in, you realize how it's all just sort of mishmashed together. It is all one path. Verse 5. Yet their trouble is great, for the path to the imperceptible is difficult for mortals to follow. So he's saying the people who worship the impersonal, who have the impersonal way, it's difficult for them, usually. Unless it's not, in which case that's the way for you. Those who dedicate all their actions to me, who are attached to me and absorbed in yoga, who remember and worship me, whose minds are fixed on me, I soon deliver from the ocean of birth and death. Those who dedicate all their actions to me, you give yourself to him. You serve yourself up to him. You say, Lord, what's mine, take it. Take me, take me. I'm suffering, take me away. Don't you want to die but still be alive? Don't you want to be free from yourself, your head, your mind, your thoughts? Give it to God. Verse 8. Krishna here will give Arjuna some varying degrees of advice. Depending on where the seeker is at, Krishna will give you some advice here. Verse 8. Fix your mind on me. Absorb your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always without a doubt. Be with God all the time. He'll look after you, you'll be fine. You get scared? Be with God. He'll take away your fear. If you cannot fix your mind on me without deviation, then try to reach me by regular practice of yoga. Still the mind. Meditate. Do your postures. Do your asanas. Chant his name. What if you can't do that regular practice? What if your mind and your energies and your habits and your addictions don't allow you to do that? If you cannot do this regular practice, then devote yourself to working for me. For just by working for my sake, you will achieve perfection. If you're not disciplined enough to have a regular practice, a yoga practice or spiritual practice, and you're too active, you're too addicted to actions, then at least when you act, when you do things, give the actions to God. How do you do that? You just do it, try it. Whatever you're doing, you say, this is for you, Lord. However you can best do it, you give it to him. You say, whatever I get from this action, I give the results of what I'm doing to you as well. You make your life a service for God. What if you can't do this? What if you're so addicted to your ways and your busyness that you can't even do that? Krishna will tell Arjuna what to do in verse 11. If you are unable to work under my shelter, then control your mind and work without attachment to the fruits of your actions. Work without attachment to the fruits of your actions means the fruits of your actions are the rewards, the results of your actions. So just be detached. Create that space between you, your action, and the results of the action. So be detached from the results. Try not to get too caught up in the results of your actions, the successes, the failures. Just be a bit detached from them. Knowledge is better than practice. Meditation is better than knowledge. Giving up the fruits of action is better than meditation. For from detachment comes peace. Now in the next, from verses 13 to 20, I think is there more? Yeah, that's the last. But in the last few verses of the chapter, verses 13 to 20, Krishna will tell us what kind of person God likes. And he uses his beautiful phrase, who's dear to me. Say, such and such a person is dear to me, is loved by me. He loves us all, but it's interesting the way it's phrased. Verse 13, we're on chapter 12, of course. One who bears no hatred, who is a compassionate friend to all creatures, who is not possessive or selfish, equal in happiness and distress and forgiving, who is dedicated to the spiritual path, always satisfied, self-controlled and determined, whose mind and intelligence are fixed on me. This devotee of mine is dear to me. And he goes on. One who troubles no one and is troubled by no one, who is unmoved by happiness, anger, fear, or distress, is dear to me. One who is detached, pure, skillful, without cares or troubles, and selfless in all endeavors, this devotee of mine is dear to me. One who does not grasp joy or hatred, grief or desire, good or bad, this devoted soul is dear to me. We're in verse 18 now. One who looks equally on friends or enemies, honor or dishonor, heat or cold, happiness or distress, praise or blame, who craves nothing, is silent and satisfied in any situation, who has no home, who is even-minded and filled with devotion. Such a person is dear to me. Those who faithfully follow this eternal path of devotion, making me their supreme goal, are dearly beloved to me. If this seems a bit too difficult for you guys, if you think, gosh, that's quite tough, don't worry. You've got a stepwise plan. Give yourself to God as much as you are able to. Be still with God. What does it say? One who is silent and satisfied in any situation, who is even-minded and filled with devotion, such a person is dear to me. This is about being still and being in love with life, with him. You find that balance. And you find it by opening yourself up to him, and he shows you. You don't have to worry. It's some of the things there might have sounded quite difficult to achieve, but you don't have to worry. He'll guide you.